Dito po sa Pilipinas, wala akong nakita ibang produkto na quality. Mas mataas ang standard ng produkto kung di Salto lang.
Yung mga gamit nila, moderno yun. For the good quality ng Salto products. Hindi nila pwede pabayaan yun.
Sa akin, yan ang napaka-importante, no? Quality talaga.
Dito sa farm na to, we're happy to say na from breeding up to conditioning, we are powered by Salto feeds.
Walang comparison ng Galimax 21 pagdating sa breeding. Kaya kong itaya yung pangalan ko sa Galimax 21.
Yung chick booster nila, dali mo palakin yung sisyo, ang sisigla, tapos may mga balahibo na.
May isa akong manok na baldado. Ginagamit ko yan sa Derby. 2 plus lang, na champion.
The product itself has proven every time na yun yung gagamitin natin, healthy yung mga manok natin.
Ang customer ngayon, tumitingin na sa health ng manok. Pag mas healthy ang manok mo, mas pupuntahan ka niya.
Kinakailangan makita mo lang healthy yung mula sisiw hanggang sa maging stag na panlaban yan. Kuha ka na satisfy ka na Satisfaction ko talaga na lumaki yung manok ko healthy sa tulong ng Salto rin.
You're satisfied with the product, tapos yung samahan parang pamilya.
Hindi ako sisikat, hindi ako makikilala kung walang protekta yung Salto sa akin. Dahil sa protekta ng Salto, naging ganito ako.
Monthly, meron silang training seminars para sa kanilang mga tao para mas updated sila.
Kaya napakalaking bagay ng suporta ng vet ng Salto. Lalo na nag-i-evolve yung mga sakit ngayon eh.
Yung farm visit, hindi siya once in a blue moon. Hindi, talagang may regular na pupuntahan ka talaga nila.
Sa technical nila, nag-advise ng mga programa sa vaccination.
I was offered by other companies, sabi ko, we're not getting any younger. Magandang relationship namin, why transfer?
That will make you inconsistent. I'm happy.
Before pa naman ako naging endorser, Salto na rin talaga yung ginagamit ko. Tsaka kahit hindi ako endorser, ito pa rin gagamitin ko kasi tested ko siya.
Humingi ka ng tulong sa kanila, readily maisusuporta nila kasi nga, ang turing sa'yo is beyond as customer, di ba? So, diyan magaling din ang Salto.
Yung mga alas ng Salto, talagang the who in the Gamefowl industry. Tsaka maganda yung camaraderie namin sa alas ng Salto.
I believe they wanted me to become an endorser, to build me up, to give me a pride.
Nung nag-una ako nag-breed, nung 2012, medyo marami yung mortality ng sisiw ko kasi wala pa tayong idea kung paano mag-alaga ng mga sisiw lahat sa parte ng pagmamanok.
Nagsimula ako mag-breed, ang mga problema ko dito sa farm, number 1, tao. Number 2, yung facilities. Number 3, yung mga sakit ng manok. Mahirap mag-umpisa na nag-aral. Mas mahirap siguro kung hindi ka nag-aral. Etong pagmamanok.
Kung gusto ka magbenta, medyo mababa pa yung value sa manok mo kasi hindi pa kakilala, hindi pa ka nakaano ng mga derby, naka-champion.
So basically I started as a backyarder and I'm still learning day by day basically. And
malaki-laki rin ang tuition fee ko sa pagmamanok. Hindi ka financial stable, mahihirapan ka talaga mag-survive, lalo na kung ganito karaming manok na.
Sobrang challenge talaga mag-breed. Mahirap mag-breed, lalo na pag walang tutulong sa'yo, walang gag-guide sa'yo kung ano yung gagawin mo.
Nag-conduct tayo ng beat mission, dinidisinfect namin yung farm. Gumamit sila ng Galimax 21, nasiyahan sila. Ngayon, marami silang napalabas na sisiw.
Sa kunting production niya, ngayon, unting-unting lumalaki.
Kontento siya sa produkto natin. Wala na siyang hahanapin pag iba.
It was a good decision. I don't have any complaints with Salto. The service is very good.
Malaki ang epekto sa farm ko kasi dumami yung manok ko, naging healthy sila, tumataas ang winning rate nila.
Nag-increase ang sales ko dahil sa produkto nila.
Ang kagandahan ng Salto, hindi lang maganda yung feeds, pati na rin yung service nila.
Noong gumamit na kami ng farm management ng Salto, tapos yung vaccination program, feeding system, and feeds natin, vitamins, we are a lot better than we used to be. I believe Salto will go a long way and dominate the market.
Hanggang may production na Salto pa rin ako.
Quality yung feeds at saka maganda yung serbisyo nila, panalo.
Masasabi ko talaga na partner for production ang Salto.
True partner for production.
When I grew up in Texas, it seems like cockfighting is part of the Hispanic culture. So the Hispanics there, they all had roosters and started to see these beautiful roosters and started to get interested in them. And first time I attended a derby, cockfight, hack fight, would have been when I was about 13 years old. My brothers and I, we probably started trying to raise our own roosters at 15, 16 if I think back then. It's been a long time now. I'm not as young as I used to be. I came here for the first time in 2004 to watch the Candelaria Derby. I was at the end of my military career. When I came, I seen that how enthusiastic everyone was here about Gamefowl, how people were treated here, how foreigners are treated here, especially the white foreigners here, how it was easy for us to interact with the Filipinos. I was single at the time. I happened to meet my wife, and so that was all the convincing I needed. 2005, I retired from the military. 2006, I transferred my farm here from Texas. I don't know, here on this, it's about 2.5 hectares here on this place, and we have approximately 200 to 50 cords, additional 50 fly pans and holding pens. I'm going to cord this year 500 plus. I hatched a lot more than that, but I call heavy, and I've let a few of my friends, have some stags as well. Probably hatched around 3,000 chicks, and after we get done calling and stuff, I'm probably going to cord 500 plus. Yeah, that's enough for me. That's really why I got involved with Salto to start with, is because of, when you talk about quality, you're talking about health of the rooster, and that's the most important thing there is. I learned about the Salto products because of the service, and it's a little bit funny. It's been very difficult for me in the first years because I didn't understand the vaccination program worked. I had no idea. I didn't know how to vaccinate. In the States, we didn't treat for these NCD, Gumboro. We never treat for that. I had no idea how to, and so I was having a lot of trouble, and someone recommended me my good friend now, Ramal Tang, and I said, "Can you help me?" I said, sure. I told him, I said, I don't belong to Salto. I'm a user of a different product. His reply to me, well, I don't care if you need help. If I can help you, I'll help you. So they came to the farm. We had a look at what I had going on, and at that time I said, well, these guys, they know what's going on. So I went and got some Salto products, and I made a test. I made a comparison because I believe in testing everything. And, well, I don't have the information anymore. The difference was quite substantial, So my contract was up with the other company, and I told them I wasn't going to resign. The services is what got me involved in Salto to start with. If their service is this good, and then they can help me, well, let me try their product and see what it's going to do. Running 8 years and never looked back. Even someone is like me, who's let's say a novice breeder, if you will, Gallimax 21, it just makes a difference. It's going to produce more eggs. And I know it doesn't seem possible, but when I started using Gallimax 21, I truly believe the weight of the egg increased, which means that the chick inside the egg was bigger, was healthier. When my friends can't produce eggs, I said, let me show you how. Let me show you how, because I'm that confident in it, that it's the best product on the market, no doubt. It's for sure the biggest challenge for us breeders, because there's a lot of breeders here and a lot of gamefowl produced. The biggest challenge for any game farm is health. Allowing Salto to come here, allowing them to help me develop a vaccination program. If I didn't contact Mr. Ramel back then, I can't imagine where I would be. I wouldn't be here today. I see me, the other customers, if we're standing in line together, I don't see no difference. The song that comes to my mind is "One Call Away." One call away, If you need something from Salto, it's one call away. And there's a lot of times I have no idea what we're facing. The guys helping me call Salto, and they're always ready to give us a hand. My first relationship was with Ramel, because he was in my area. So I really developed a relationship with him before with Aljer. The only word that comes to mind is polite, courteous. Yeah, we're friends. We really are friends. I'm often over at Ramel's home. We're talking about roosters. Often there, meeting with the other endorsers. Or his farm is right over here. I'm there quite a bit when the guys come in from the other areas. Of course, it's professional, but we're friends. We're friends.
Alright, magandang araw mga ka-Salto. Welcome na naman po uli sa isang na naman pong webinar ng Alas ng Salto. Tayo po ay makinig upang tayo matuto at later on po, maaari po tayong manalo. Kape muna para sa mga inaantok. Saktong-sakto, nakalagay po sa ating mug, yung with liver protect po. So, ito lang gusto ko lang paalala mga ka-Salto, lalo to sa ating mga loyal users ng ating mga maintenance product at pati yung mga breeder pellet. Meron na pong nating dinagdagan ng liver protect po, yung mga produkto po ng Salto na ginagamit nyo na. At para po sa hindi pa gumagamit, para ma-appreciate nyo, dinagdagan po ng liver protect, yung mga patuka po na yan. Yung mga patukan dinagdagan po, yan po yung Gallimax 2+, natural tsaka red, yung Gallimax 3, yung natural tsaka red, at yung pinakabago po, dinagdagan din natin ng liver protect, yung ating Gallimax 21 na napapanahon sa breeding season. So with liver protect, yung masyadong naabusong atay ng ating mga alagang manok ay nare-rejuvenate o napapagaling o napapabuti ang consistency para lalo mas maging productive yung ating mga alagang manok. Yan po ay dinagdag po na feature po ng Salto sa ating mga ganyang patuka upang makatulong po sa inyo na hindi po dinadagdag sa pagbayad nyo sa per kilo o per bag na binibili yung patuka. So yan po, ugaliin nyo lang po, siguraduhin nyo lang na yung mga patoka po na kukuha nyo ay lihitimong Galimax po o Salto product. Okay? So, nabanggit ko last week, kung nakinig kayo, kung na-present kayo last webinar, medyo challenging ang ating ang ating guest ngayon. So, yung mga ibang hindi masyado sanay sa Inglesan, mag-ready na kayo ng tissue at mga pamunas dyan at baka magduguan tayo ng ilong mamaya. Sabi ko nga po, mamaya papakilala ko muna yung ating co-host, ang ating pinakamagiting na co-host ng taga-Bacolod. One of the fighters masasabi ko na kilala na rin sa area na yan. Hindi lang sa breeding, lalong-lalo na din sa conditioning. Yung ating pong guest ngayon, sinisigurado ko po sa inyo, ay isa sa mga sabi kong batak na batak sa labanan. Ito, galing to sa ibang bansa na lumalaban dito. Alamin natin mamaya kung ano yung mga pinagkakaiba o kung ano yung naging transition niya sa paglalaban sa US at yung paglalaban dito at kung paano siya hanggang ngayon ay nagiging performer in terms of achievement. So, welcome ko rin po muna ang aking co-host ngayon, one of the masabing authority ngayon in terms of sa labanan. Kasi yung labanan na hindi lang basta parang sabi-sabi. Ito, proven ito. Subok ito, makikita mo sa mga Facebook yan, mga achievement yan. Hindi lang naisulat dito. Marami na po itong champion, munting na mag-champion at nagpa-finalist pa ito sa mga malalaking event na national. So welcome po, Aljer Yecyec.
Ay, okay. Hula, hula mga ka-Salto. Ayan. Magandang introduction ng ating best residence dito sa Saltos. Walang iba kundi si Dok Arvin Arcega. Okay mga ka-Salto, bago natin ipakilala yung guest natin, so kailangan natin muna explore muna natin yung mga dictionary natin when it comes to English.
Yes.
Okay?
So naka-ready na rin yung telepono ko pang Google. Baka mapalaban tayo.
Okay, mga ka-Salto. Ang guest natin ay walang iba, our national endorser, Mr. Calvin Randall. He came from USA, Texas, now residence in the Philippines, especially here in Bacolod City. Alas ng Salto Calvin Randall, Paradise Game Farm. Okay. Mga ka-Salto, kung nanonood kayo or nakikita nyo sa inyong mga screen, sa cellphone, nakikita yung mga achievements niya. Lately, yung achievements niya, champion siya noong 2019 HML 5 Cat Derby, 2011 solo champion 7-Star Derby, 2011 again NSSA Stag Fighter of the Year, 2013 Munjo Guanson RGG 7 Cat Derby. Naku, ang dami. 2014, 2015, and 2018. Again, we have the second slide for the another 2020 and 2021.
Next slide.
Yes, mga late. Next slide.
Sa dami ng achievement, hindi po nagkasya sa isang slide. Medyo binawasan pa namin yan. Masyadong dumami. Okay, next slide. Pakita natin.
Uh-oh.
Ayan.
Okay. Here comes the second slide. Calvin Randall has won and almost the 2021 Pitmaster 10 Cat Finals Derby. He has 2 in 3. The other one is 8 score, and the other one is 9. Almost. No, my body. And 2020 champion JVS 4 Cup NPC or in here in Negros Occidental, Talisay. Solo champion RVN 9. What's this? 4 star. Black Sabbath 4 Cup champion. Wow. Big event to ng mga dito. And 2019, same year, 23rd, Sinagayan, 4 Cup champion. And 2019, same year, solo champion, Alkika, 4 Cup and runner-up 5-cock derby of HML. Okay? Hula mga ka-Salto, again, our guest, Mr. Calvin Randall.
Good day, Sir Calvin.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah,
How's everybody
I'm
today?
reminding them to bring their tissue near, so once their nose starts to bleed, they have something to pull and to dry their nose with the blood. Anyway, Sir Calvin, so with this achievement, I know there was a pandemic in 2020. If there wasn't a pandemic and there was a closure of traditional cockpits, there will most likely be more achievement from you. So, how is Bacolod right now in terms of cockfighting?
Well, right now, after this last little, they put the hold on. The only thing that's going on now is they're still fighting for the the online, but the only people allowed at the bulong, the cockpit, are the owners and the handlers and the helpers, and there's no crowds allowed. But I believe, if I'm following the news correct, that all of Negros and especially Bacolod, we're doing pretty good. We're doing better than the like in Manila, they look like they're having a really hard time right now. And so I hope we can keep it like that, and we can get back. I think the deadline now is until April 4th, and we can get back to business and let everybody enjoy.
Yeah. So how was your breeding this year?
Well, I said I was going to time out a little bit, with everything going on. I thought that's one of the problems with Salto, man. I got to be honest with you guys. The problem with Salto, it's not production, it's overproduction. I told myself I was going to time out a little bit, but now, I like playing around with the baby chicks too much, and I think I banded 200 for the early bird with Pitmaster, and then for the local 250, somewhere 260. That was local and Pitmaster national. That then we will be banding here in the next weeks for the Bakbakan and the Pitmaster national as well, and I don't know why I got enough chicks, but we're hatching again. I'm hatching today, as a matter of fact, that for the late season Pitmaster. I've kind of got Pitmaster seems like they're going to be pretty steady for us to join in, and so I'm gonna take advantage of that. I like
there's
to fight.
Still a lot of reason to breed, despite the challenges we had 2020. So
there's
traditional sabo may be on a low side right now, but definitely it will be open later on. And while we're waiting for the opening, online sabong is still there to consume our birds that we are going to produce. So I know you have just a point away from being a millionaire from the the 10 cock.
Almost.
Master, maybe with this with the numbers of stags you're going to ban from the early bird to the local, national, and of course for the late born, we might be seeing you as one of the champion, one of the one of the contributor or one of the winners of the 100 million or more. So you have to treat us with you win, huh? Don't forget us.
I can only hope. I can only hope.
Yeah. We all wish that, but with having good cocks and good conditioning, it's not a far-fetched goal in mind. Definitely, with good cocks, with good nutrition, good conditioning, there's a big possibility that we could be one of the champions for that big event. Okay, so talking about your, you produce a lot of chicks this season, even though you mentioned that you were going to be going to lie low a bit in production. So let's talk about the materials you're using. So let's start with the question number 1. Okay, let's wait. I think we have a technical difficulty. The internet is a bit slow. So first question, anyway, the first question, while it's not yet being posted, the first question is, what are the bloodlines in a Paradise Game Farm and the story behind it? So maybe we could start, I think the first part was the first slide will be the red one. I think that's the yellow-legged hatch. So can you tell us something about, okay, here. There you go.
Let's see what comes up here. It's
Yeah,
loading.
so that's our first question. So first slide.
What the bloodlines have in the farm?
Yes.
Yeah, you can see the yellow-legged hatch there. That's actually it's what I am. Yellow-legged hatch is one of the families that I imported, and I blended it here recently with some. I got some Stuart. So I imported some Stuarts, yellow-legged hatch a few years ago, and I've been blending them in. The Stuarts are a little bit darker. The original ones I had were a little bit lighter in color, but they're good performers for me. You know, we do good with them in the pit. Last few years, we've been doing really well with the yellow-legged hatch crossed to roundhead. That seems to be, a good winning line for me. I do good with it. Is the other photo you see right there is Black McRae.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I imported some McRaes when I came here. I've always been a fan of black chickens. In fact, the very first roosters I had, me and my brothers had back in Texas, were blacks, the very first ones. And the McRaes, for me, I was doing okay with them. Then I got a brood stag from, I was over at JQB's farm, Jim Bernardo, Mr. Jim Bernardo, is one of my idols. And I seen some blacks out there, and he said, "Well, why don't you take one of these stags and try it?" Well, I still have that same original rooster, but they've been a good producer for us too. They're really good as cocks. They really do good for us as cocks, and I'm going to keep breeding them.
Yeah.
Next
So
slide,
what are
please.
the characteristic of this yellow-legged hatch you like? Why are you using them? And then, of course, what about the blacks?
The yellow-legged hatch seems to cross well with the roundhead type, the white-legged type roosters I have. I think people use the term too loosely, but yellow-legged hatch seem to add power to the white roosters, and they don't take any of the white-legged roosters. They don't take any of the cutaway. This last year, I also bred them to white Kelso, and I've had really good luck with those. The McRaes, they're big flyers, especially when I put the new blood in them. Really big flyers, and I don't know, they're just one of those chickens that you better be ready because they're coming. They're coming. They don't mess around so much. They're going to take care of business, and they're pretty good at it.
Yeah, what about the black? You mentioned the black, they're good at cocks. Do you fight them as stags?
I think I've lost my speaker.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Doc, you have to give me a second while I change my speaker, okay?
Okay. Yes, AGY.
Yes, what happened? What happened?
Sounds, I think there's a problem with the sounds. Even the laptop is, I think it's bleeding also because of so much English. Yeah, I can hear you, Sir Calvin.
It's better if he use his phone.
Yeah, we can hear you, and I can see you. Do you hear us? Okay, while waiting for Sir Calvin to fix his audio, I think the speaker is, there's a problem with the speaker. AGY, Sir Aljer, kamusta ang naging labanan mo nitong lately? Kamusta ang labanan ngayon sa Negros?
Ngayon, nag-stop siya nung magbigay ng national government ng ng stop order. But babalik siya within April 4.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you can. Okay. Can you hear us? Go ahead, Aljer. Kung di pa tayo naririnig.
So resume yung mga sabong dito sa Western Visayas by April 4. No? For now, stop muna.
Okay.
So hopefully magtuloy-tuloy na hindi na wala nang interruption ng dahil sa COVID na ito. At still keep safe mga ka-Salto. Sunod tayo sa mga protocol. Hindi pa kasi bumabalik yung dito yung traditional na sabong, mostly online. No?
Okay. Ano yung mga laban mo? In fairness, talagang pumupuntos ka. Ano ba yung mga ginagamit mo ngayong mga linyado dyan saan mo? Mga laban mo?
Wala, medyo na yun, Dok Arv, mga tira-tira.
Isipin mo yan, Tira-tira pa yan, Iba ka talaga, Aljer. Okay, medyo nawala lang si Sir Calvin, pero babalik.
Oo. Siguro na nabigyan ng konting konting swerte. Kumbaga, sabi nila.
Bira yung konting swerte mo, Aljer. Hindi lang minsanan, binibigyan ka ng konting swerte.
Oo nga naman, yung iba nga, hindi mo ma-expect na mag-champion nagta-champion So, kumbaga, kung ibigay sa'yo yung panalo, ibigay niya lang talaga.
Kamusta ang mga breeders ngayon in Bacolod? Kamusta ang situation nila in terms of breeding and movement ng chickens?
Ngayon, sabi ng endorser natin, ni Sir Calvin, pahirapan yung magpapadala. Especially, actually, mga ka-Salto, yung mga nanalo dito kina Johnny Laureño at saka Sir Calvin, hopefully by after siguro sa Semana Santa, mapadala natin yung mga inahin kasi kailangan mag-reserve ng schedule para makapapadala. So, by second week or first week, hopefully, papasok.
So, huwag kayong mga ka-Salto. Darating at darating. Medyo pahirapan lang ngayon. Very loaded. Sir Calvin, can you hear us now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good.
Yeah,
I got some headphones. The wireless stuff didn't want to last, so we're good now. Okay, so let's go on with the Lacey's, if you will. You want me to go ahead here, Doc?
Yeah, go ahead with the Lacey.
The Lacey's came from a small breeder in Virginia. A friend of mine, Jimmy Smith, he'd been raising them for a long time. I can't tell you where he got them from. I don't know for sure. Mr. Smith, he's getting on in years now, and I never bothered. He just gave them to me. He never seemed to want to tell me where they came from, and hey, they've always been good performance for me. I think they came from a guy named Alan Fisher. It's long past now, but he was a breeder of some good fowl. He's a good author as well on how to breed. I've had good luck with them. Anything I seem to cross them to, I get better than average performance. I've had them for since 1999, a long time. Jimmy gave them to me when I returned back from my second trip in Bosnia, and he gave them to me. I guess it's a coming home present, and I've had them ever since. The bullets.
Can you buy this pure?
Yeah, I can, but the trouble, and they're plenty game enough. There's no problem. The only reason I don't breed so many of them pure
is because Jimmy bred him for so many years to fight the gaff. He fought them get pure in the gaff, and I fought some of them pure in the knife. But when I cross them to yellow-legged hatch, the station improves and their flight ability improves. They get more vertical, and they fly better. And that's why I don't like to fight them, because they get a little bit. They're still roundhead style, but they get more grounders when they're pure. And I'm not a big fan of fighting grounders. I like to fight flyers.
Yeah.
The
They're not
bullocks,
built for the long knife when they're pure.
well, no, not in the competition we have here in Negros. It's just I don't mean to say anything bad about anywhere else. I don't. But for me to fight and compete here in Negros, they are good breeding fowl. But my experience tells me if I want to get the higher winning percentage, I need to cross them with leapers or with the yellow-legged hatch. I've made some other crosses with them too, like the Doms you see there, and they've been good. But I always seem to come back to the yellow-legged hatch and the leapers when I'm breeding. That's it always seems to come back there. Now, if that was a good segue, a good way to get into the bullock there. The bullocks, those are Gen. I didn't import them. They came from Gen. I know Gen, and we're acquaintances. But I didn't get him direct from him. His high school classmate and me are good friends and have been since since I came here in 2006. And I asked him. I knew he had bullocks, and I said, "Hey, I don't have any. I'm fighting a lot of stag derbies. I'm fighting a lot of stag derbies. I need to have some bullocks, So I got some. He gave me some, and then I tried them, and then I found out where they came from. At that time, I didn't really know who Gen was. Not really. He had just either him or Doc Ronnie had just won the Bok-Bakken or the World Slasher using bullocks, and I said, "Whoa, I got to try some of these myself," and I have, and I talked him into letting me have a few more, and I got the history on them, and I like them. They're good roosters. They're fun to handle, great to work with, and I like them. I don't fight so many of them, but I like them.
Yeah. There are other bullock lovers out there. So
yes.
I think this is one good blood you can use for breeding.
And they got good state. The ones I've got good station, and they got the right characteristics. They fly good. If you get close to them, they're gonna tag you. And I don't know. I think they're beautiful. I like the colors, and I don't know. You heard me say there earlier. One of the first things that attracted me to Gamefowl is being able to see how beautiful these roosters were. And what am I now? 45 years later, and it's still in my heart that when I see them roosters out there, wow, those are beautiful. It's still, Doc, it's still there.
All right.
Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Okay.
Ding, 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 ding. Next slide.
Yes. So the white Kelso and the gray Henny.
Okay, those are also lines I didn't import. The white Kelso is I'm friends with Mr. Art Lopez and with Joey Laxon. So I got a rooster from one guy and a hen from another, and I made my own line of whites. And I'm not going to tell you that which one did which to which. That's for them people out there to enjoy and experiment with. But for me, the cross of the two put together was better than either one of the sides. And I know both of them sell a lot of whites, and they have good whites. They have good whites, and I've fought them in big derbies. When I won the Stag Championship in the finals, we showed two whites. And the last fight, I think, was a white, if I remember. It's been a few years now. Was a white, and he had been caught a little bit, and everyone thought, he's a white. He's not going to stay. He's going to sleep early. And we went on and we got the solo championship. The Henny is actually, until I came to the Philippines, I didn't like Hennies. I'll be honest with you. I'd never worked with them. There was a little bit of a negative perception of Hennies in the States for gaff guys. But in the first years I was here, my roosters, they weren't used to seeing Hennies because I didn't have any on the yard. And they were getting fooled. They were getting fooled at the pit. And one of the guys there at the farm, my guy says to me, he said, we need to get some Hennies for sparring partners. And that's how it all started. I started raising, the Hennies and the whites. And at that time, Jimmy Smith was here. He was here in the Philippines with me. And he said, he told me, he said, if you're going to breed something, breed the very best one that you can. And I said, well, I'm just going to use them for sparring partners. He said, I don't care. You breed the very worst one as you can. And from that, I started breeding the Hennies. I've got red Hennies, gray Hennies, black Hennies. Now, I really just use them for sparring partners, even though, we can't fight Hennies in the stag derbies no more. That's okay, because I don't want my cocks to get fooled either. And I meet a lot of Hennies. There's a lot of good Henny breeders here in Bacolod. For me, maybe even the king of Hennies, Apple is here. And sure enough, I've had to meet him a few times. I think we're 50-50. I don't know. I'd like to think that anyway on wins and losses. I don't remember it. If it's not 50-50, he's got the better of me. I haven't got the best of him so far. But we still have some years to go. So, Apple, if you're out there listening, you're on my radar, buddy. But it's all in good fun. He's a good guy. I like him, and we're friends together. In fact, at one time when I was breeding red Hennies, he lent me a broodcock to start my Henny program, and it's been good since then. I think he calls them malditos or something. I think he does, but they're good roosters. Good roosters. I've used Hennies in the big derbies. I fought some in the Pitmaster, as a matter of fact. I fought them in the 7 cocks in the RGG. I've had some success with them. I've won some derbies with Hennies. I don't know. Just it's more of a novelty thing for me. I like to fight 1 cock derbies. I like to use Hennies for that. It's just my preference. I like to use them. Next slide, please.
Yeah, that's what is important, is you breed what you like and you fight what you like. So if that's what you like, there's no one going to tell you to stop breeding that, because he's not the one breeding it. You're the one breeding it and using it. So I think this one is your favorite bloodline. So what is this, Sir Calvin?
It is, Doc. But I'm sure Aljer has heard me say this before when we've done seminars together. I always tell guys, breed roosters that make you happy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your friend down the road wants to breed. Let him breed his own. Breed roosters that make you happy. So that way, when you have a bad day, and we all have had bad days, all of us have, that you're still happy when you go out and feed your roosters. So breed what's happy. All right, Doc, getting on there. That's a leaper stag right there. That line was a little bit big when I brought him here. I've got him a little bit lighter now. Was no problem with the weight anymore. Those came from Rat Graves.
Okay.
They've just been phenomenal chickens for me. They come, leapers will come a lot of different light, dark. bluish. At least mine do. Bluish legs, greenish legs. But the performance is what I like, and I haven't made a cross with leapers yet that I didn't think was outstanding. Um, I just like them. I just like them. They're not, they're not mean chickens. Not the ones I have are not mean. They're fun to handle. There's a lot of action when you spar them. And we talked about styles. For me, the reason probably their favorite is because when you pit the leaper, he's going to break good. He's going to break good. But after the first couple of flights, every fight's a grounder after that. After they fly a couple times, everybody's on the ground by then. So you better be able to dish it out then, and they're good on the ground too. So I always think I get the best of both my worlds using the leapers, and they add that quality to other roosters. Now I've made some bad crosses since I've been here, but leapers is not one of them. Crossing with leapers is not one of them. I know I don't want to tell anybody what what I did that didn't work out. But it got me. It got me.
Yeah, I used to have leapers on my own before, but I guess I wasn't really that successful with the leapers. I got the dark ones before. Maybe I guess the genetics not that good anymore, so it didn't give me a good result afterwards. But looking at your leaper, it's a very, very good cut. One similarity with your leapers and mine are they came really big to start with. So you have to tone down their size or the weight for you to use them.
I also had a few leapers that came from Jeff Hudsmith. He's a friend of mine. He's given me some roosters over the past few years to breed, and I had some leapers that he'd sent here for another guy to fight, and when they didn't fight him, Jeff had them given to me, and they were all dark. I don't remember. It's been a long time now. I don't remember. And I'm getting older, so I don't remember as well as I did. But I think I made some out crosses using those, and I just preferred the ones I had. The other ones, it's just my preference. It wasn't anything wrong with them, but for me, I preferred the ones that the color came a little bit lighter. Maybe it's because I like the lighter colored roosters. I don't know. Than the darker red. And so that's where I'm at today. I think that picture was probably about 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. And yeah, they're my probably my favorite line. Not the one I've had the longest, but my favorite.
Okay. So talking about your bloodlines, I'm sure that our viewers, not just coming from the Philippines, even in abroad, some are interested or some would like to inquire regarding your blood. Are you sharing those bloodlines for our viewers out there?
Doc, that when I really raise roosters to fight. That's why I'm here. I like to fight roosters. That's my passion. But I always have a few extras, and I'm willing, to let other guys have them. Especially the younger guys. When I was a younger guy, I don't necessarily, I don't want to say I got fooled, but I didn't get the roosters I thought I was getting a few times. And the problem is when you're buying roosters, when you're buying materials, this is something I've learned. You can always get your money back. You can always make more money. But you can, if you spend a year or two, raising them and all that time you put into them, you can't get that time back. Once you've lost that time, it's gone. I'm 57 now. I'm never going to be 47 again. So that time's gone. So you need to take advantage of every minute you have. Every minute you have. So one of my idols used to tell me, he said, bad roosters cost twice as much to raise as good roosters. And I used to say, well, why is that? And he says, because bad roosters are never going to give you anything in return. Just never. There's no chance. You're not gonna, you're not gonna win with them in the pit, and you shouldn't ever let anybody else have them either. And I don't. That brings another good point, Doc. I don't like to let anybody. I have some people ask me from time to time about Class B roosters. Class B roosters for me are. I don't want them to leave the farm. We could maybe work out a deal cheaper, but I'm not going to let them leave the farm because when they take and they fight that rooster, they breed them roosters. When they got the performance, the thing, they're not going to say to anybody, that's a Class B rooster I got from Mr. Randall. They're going to say, that's a rooster from Mr. Randall. So I've just found one of my practices is, if it's not Class A, it's time, just go ahead and call it and get it over with, and put a good rooster on that same spot on the cord. Especially now that I have a little bit of issue with space, that we got to take care of every cord is precious to me, every slot. So Class B, nah. It's see you later, guys.
Okay, good to hear. So for those who are interested to inquire the materials from Sir Calvin, he has a few to share. Especially, he's not sharing anything lesser than Class A. So any Class B won't be parting with it. So you can be assured that you will be getting the best, one of the best materials from him. But of course, it's as a limited. Of course, as Sir Calvin said, there's a limited numbers to share, but he's willing to share. So if you are interested, just give him a message on this messenger. That will be a Calvin Randall. So check out the Facebook Messenger, message him, and communicate with him. So regarding what bloodline you like. So basically on the last pictures, that's one of the best bloodline he has right now. One of the favorite. He's crossed it very successfully with other bloodlines. So that is the leaper hatch. So going to those question number 2, Sir Aljer. I think Sir Calvin has discussed a few tips regarding sa breeding. So, Sir Aljer, question number 2.
Yes. Sir Calvin, what are your breeding practices in your farm?
Yeah, I think you have mentioned a few, so you can add more.
Yeah.
So what do you do to produce those champion stags and cats?
So a word I don't hear used here in the Philippines being used very often is hybrid, hybrid vigor. It's when you take two lines of, two, let's say, pure lines, and you breed them together, and hopefully to get the best traits from both line in hybrid vigor to produce, let's say, battle cocks or battle stags. When I'm breeding my pure materials, I'm not really big into I like line breeding. I'm not into inbreeding very much. In the past, of course, there's going to be times when you have to do it, but in the past, when I have used inbreeding, I haven't. It seems like it brings out the worst in chickens.
Yes, it's inbreeding depression.
It seems like that first thing you do is going to make them mean, then it's going to take away their station, and those are two things I just don't want to deal with. I don't like mean chickens. For me, mean roosters, you never know what they're going to do. I think they're always fighting a desperate battle, and there's always a chance that one of them could turn on one of my guys at the pit, and or just on the cord if one of the the family members of mine or one of my helpers, one of their young children walk by, and one of them mean roosters, he's having a bad day and he really behaves badly. I just don't want that on my conscience. So mean roosters, well, your class
That's
B.
not for breeding.
No, that's your class B.
How do you select materials to use for breeding? So what are the characteristics you give importance to? So you can say that I can use this as a brood cup, as a material. Aside from not being mean, of course.
You know, one of the I've had some trouble with mean roosters in the past. I've some of my breeding have produced mean roosters, and then I just had to call out those brood fowl that were producing them. Another trait that I've had problems with is the tail. You know, I like to have big, beautiful tails, you know, just like everybody else. We all want to raise beautiful roosters. But I've had trouble, especially in the leapers. Leapers seem to give me the most trouble. We call it squirrel tail. In English, we say squirrel tail. It's where the tail gets too close to the head, if you will. I don't know how to. I know we can't see.
In Tagalog, we call them payungan.
There you go. And I don't like that. I think that the tail, I don't know, just like on a, you know, I came from the military and I was with helicopters for 20 some years. The tail for me is just like the tail rotor on a helicopter. If it's less functional for me, if it's not in the right position, it's less. And the right position would be at the 45. You know, I like the 45 angle. If it's not at the 45, will it still work? Yeah, it'll still work. Of course it will. But it isn't the best to look at, and I don't think it's as effective as the other ones. You know, I think that maintaining at the 45, keeping them at the 45 is what we should breed for effectiveness. You know, if I don't know how much you want me to talk about here. Another thing that I've had to do here in the last few years is I've had to start a measuring system for the leg on my roosters. I have, you know, because station has got to be so important nowadays. I have a system where I measure roosters. They have to meet this criteria or they don't go forward. No matter how good they are, if I don't want to breed short roosters no more. I have bred some in the past, but I find, yes, they can win. Yes, they can be effective. So somebody has short roosters out there and they're winning with them. Hey, no problem with that. If it works for you, that's good. But for me, I want to breed, you know, tall station chickens that, because when you go to the pit, if you will, here in Bacolod, a lot of big names here just waiting for you with them little short roosters.
What is your standard for the measurement of the brood stags?
It would, I don't want to give you a number, Doc, because where I measure from and someone else might measure from is different, and then they would say I give them a bad. I would tell everybody to pick the rooster, and you can use it on hens as well. Pick the rooster that you think is a station that you want a standard. You know, set your own standards, and then with that rooster, make a measurement on his leg. Let's say from like they measure the gaff, you know, from the knee down to the prop toe. See what your measurement is, and set your standard from there, and then go forward. You know, I've had some other cases where I've made exceptions to things I wouldn't normally do in the past when I didn't have so many roosters, or I had a super individual, and in the long run, it has been costly to me. It has been costly to me. It's better if you set the standard and you stick to it, even if it means you know, you're limited breeding for this year, that year. It's always better, you know, for young guys. I wish that somebody would have told me this when I was starting out. Quantity is not important. Quality is important. Quality is what that gives you a high, consistent win rate, not quantity. You know, quantity is just maybe a target. You know, that it'll haunt you. The best thing is to produce quality. The best brood fowl you can get And I didn't say the biggest name brood fowl you could get. I said the best brood fowl you could get. Then test it to see what you can produce, and then always pick quality over quantity. That's the best tip I can give for breeding today, Doc, is quality over
I think
quantity.
you pinpoint one important thing before on the first part. It's very important that you breed the class A, the quality one. Never breed the second choice. Of course, if you're going to breed a class B or something a lot less quality, and chances are the opportunity you will be losing, you cannot get it back anymore. Like you mentioned, there's the time that you're going to lose breeding that particular fowl or that particular materials. The time loss will never be revived again. We're not going to go back to that. That's a lot of opportunity loss. That's very costly, and then this is something that we cannot go back to. So that's a very good point, Sir Calvin. So moving ahead, I think you have mentioned a lot of good tips in terms of the most important things to consider when breeding. So let's talk about once we have produced good quality eggs and good quality chicks now. So what are your, for the next question, next slide. For the next question is, how do you keep those chicks healthy as from day old to the ranging areas? So you talk about, you banded a lot of numbers of baby stags recently. So what is your system in making sure that they become healthy?
Doc, I'm going to be honest with you now. This is one of the areas that Salto, Mr. Aljer there, and our big boss, Mr. Tang, this is one of the areas that without them it would be impossible for me to be where I'm at today. When I talk to people about Salto, of course, I can talk about the products. Talk for themselves. The products. If they'll try the products, they're going to see. They're going to see what the difference is. But when I first came here, I was having. You heard a little introduction. I was having so much trouble with different diseases I didn't understand. Well, some of them, Doc. I'm gonna give you a little pat on the back here. Not all the vets out there have your knowledge or willing to share the knowledge like you do with us breeders, and thank you for that. That thing right there is the most important thing, learning how to properly vaccinate. And it's not easy. I've had to learn just because like I said, we didn't do it in the States. The only thing I had to treat for was fowl pox and coccidiosis in the States, and I had healthy roosters. So I had to learn the difference. I didn't know which one was which. I didn't know the difference between live and killed vaccines. I didn't know. So for them young guys out there, I wasn't so young. Hey, I was in my 40s when someone was teaching me. I'd already been, winning big derbies back in the States. But I didn't know. And you have to calm yourself down a little bit and take advice from people that do know. And the Salto guys got me. I'm using the program that I'm using for my vaccinations. The tips on how to manage the farm, especially dealing with baby chicks. That's where it's really so much different. Now I will tell people that. I believe that the system that the traditional Filipinos use is a good system, and that's pretty much. Of course, there's a few little things. I'm a foreigner that I picked up in the past that we do, but just basically, I'm following the same systems almost everybody else. Personnel is a big factor in chick production, and especially it's hard to find somebody or people that want to work with young fowl. Everybody likes to be at the cockpit. Everybody, they likes to work with the roosters, but not so many people like to work with the baby chicks. And
that's true. That's a
Maybe.
lot of gray areas and a lot of problems there. So they don't
Yeah.
want any problems.
Yeah. So besides me learning what to do, yep. I have a guy that, I mean, he's fabulous. That works with me, and he's worked for me a long time now. That his only job is to take care of my young fowl in the ranges. You know, the baby chicks till courting. That's just he has a helper now, but that's his only job. And you can see they're getting ready to play this video. I think you can see from.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, that guy right there. His name's Arnold. He does a fabulous job for me. Fabulous, you know, and of course, you know, he follows my instructions to the T. We've built up a relationship where he trusts me and I trust him. So if I say, Arnold, we got to vaccinate tomorrow, okay, boss, which one, which pen you want to do? And that's how it is. You know, I have the schedule. I said, Aljer's helped me with the schedule, the vaccination schedule, especially when I change farms. That's another good point, Doc. Just because this is something I've learned, that I've learned here. Just because the vaccination program, I know I can't see my hands here. I'm using my hands to talk. Just because the vaccination program, it works on one farm down the road 15 kilometers, that don't mean it's going to work for you. Each farm, this is where Salto guys have helped me so much. Each farm requires a specific vaccination plan. Yeah, I mean, they're all generally, yeah, we're all going to treat for, you know, NCD, we're all going to treat Lesotho, we're all going to treat for Gamburo. But there are specific areas that each farm, you know, have to address that somebody else don't have to address because of your neighbors. You know, what are they doing? What do they have? What are they giving? You know, because if they're introducing something and it's going to blow across onto your area, you have to be prepared for that too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just
I have to comment also on that. That's true. A vaccination program, a program in terms of vaccines would always be different from one farm to another because of the challenges they're facing. So even though there's a few kilometers just away from your farm, they may have more challenges there compared to you. So you have to make sure that you have a good history to check and to base where your program would be coming from. So if there are a high challenge of NCD there, then you have to make a program with an aggressive program vaccine for NCD. Sir Aljer, I know you're the one handling the chicks of Sir Calvin. So care to share what the program should do with Sir Calvin's ranging area and brooding area?
Yes, actually, I have only administration with the help of my EPSS to Sir Calvin. And first we have to disinfect first the ranging area.
Okay.
It's the very important thing we will do before putting birds there or chicks in that particular area. And then we have scheduled vaccination in CD, Gumboro, and same thing with we have preventive measures for coccidiosis, especially when in the area of Salto Calvin are in high medium altitude in Barangay Alig in Murcia. Sometimes we cannot prevent weather, no. When rain came, if your ranging area or your barn is not prevented by what we call this around that nobody that rains or droplets of rain or water can go through. But till then, sometimes
drainage.
You know, yeah. Sometimes we have to prevent first the coccidiosis coming in first before the chicks been Dok Arvin. So that's why we have Sir Calvin has very successful with prevention with that, even those NCD problem before, as he said. Now, and he knows how to prevent it.
Okay, thank you, Sir Aljer. So one of the problems really during ranging is coccidiosis. So that is one problem we address in terms of the nutrition side of feeding a chick booster and the Salto baby stag. We use an organic coccidiostat for that. So it's a more effective coccidiostat, at the same time very safe in terms of using other products when you're using medicines, especially antibiotics in the waters in combination with the feeds with an anti-coccidia. That is fatal in combination with the two. So we're using organic coccidios that's very safe regardless of what you use in terms of antibiotics or multivitamins. So that is what ba't ba tayo nag-i-English pala, Sir Aljer? Yan ang importanteng yan ang importanteng pinagtuunan namin para sa inyo mga Salto. Okay, so
Doc,
our audience are mostly Filipinos, so we can speak in Tagalog if we're
yes,
going to.
That's okay. It's my
we're going
my
to
fault.
explain it better. Let Sir Calvin do the English and we will speak in Tagalog. Okay, Sir Calvin, before we pause for a break.
Just one last thing. Just one last thing. Let me share with you. Many years ago, Aljer was at the farm, and I remember he gave me this quote. He told me, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound. I'm sure he said kilo. A gram of prevention is worth
that's
kilo
measurement.
a kilo of cure. So he said, get away from the antibiotics and get on the vaccination program, and you won't need to be using those antibiotics. And he's right. If you do I have to use some antibiotics once? Sure. Do I have to treat for coccidiosis? In the league, that's really especially when it's these heavy rains we've had. He's right. We have to be really careful with coccidiosis. But I don't have to use much antibiotics anymore. Not like I used to do. That's a whole nother story back in the day when I hatched 500, and if I had 100 chicks left, that was my pre-Salto days. Look, if they're having that problem, if there's a young breeder having that problem, there's I'm telling you, Salto, like I said, is one call away, and they can help you. They can help you get your program on track. Look, I always tell Doc, I came 8,000 miles, moved my farm here, and I started at the bottom. I didn't know anything about what was going on here. Not really. I had to learn it all from the ground up. Yeah, I had a background in what was going on, and I used some of my the military experience and to guide me how to do things. But if I'm able to do it, so can all these other guys if they apply themselves. They really can. It's out there. If they want it, they can get it.
Yeah. What's important is we have an open mind to learn. So always have an open mind. There are other people who knows much more than you that you can use. So always have an open mind, and definitely you're going to place. So before we pause for a break, Sir Calvin, there's a question here from JR regarding the leaper. Is a leaper a hatch? Family of hatch family?
Yes. Yes, it is. Okay. It's there's a lot of different leapers, a lot of different hatch families out there. Doc Robertson, Blueface, in Gilmore's, McLean's. Those are all names of different breeders, and they were all at one time. All those breeders composed them lines to make the hatch, just like leaper. It's a mixture several years ago by the original breeder, but for me, yes, it's a hatch. I'm pretty much so, Doc. If it's got green legs, it's a hatch.
I think that's a question. There's usually a question whether a leaper is a hatch. So thank you for clarifying that. So we will have a pause to offer a break. Then after that, we continue the question, Sir Calvin. Now, the next question later after the break would be the most, what I can say it's Sir Calvin's forte. It's mostly conditioning and having achievements like the ones we posed a while ago. So there's a lot of achievements. So we're going to learn from Sir Calvin what he does to, in preconditioning and conditioning to achieve those achievements. Sir Calvin, we're going to have a pause for a few break. I guess there's about 2 videos before that. So I'm going to get a tissue because I think there's blood coming out from my nose already.
I'm
So
sorry,
it's
guys.
time for a break for you. So partners, mga ka-Salto, punas muna tayo ng ilong, break muna, tapos pabreak tayo pagkatapos. Okay?
Hola mga ka-Salto.
Ayan, okay. So habang nag-break pa si hopefully mga ka-Salto, nakapagpunas-punas na kayo ng ilong nyo. Baka medyo mag-ready kayo ng pang blood transfusion dahil meron pa tayong isang set of questions pa from Sir Calvin. Pero bago yan, ipapakilala ko muna ngayon yung isang produkto po ng Salto. Hindi mo po produkto, isa pong dinidistribute po ng Salto. Napapanahon ngayon, napapansin nyo, umaabot ng tag-init, bisan umuulan. So napaka-importante na meron tayong magandang klase na disinfectant. So ang Salto po ay meron na pong dinadala po ngayon na isang type of disinfectant na ang pangalan po ay Pan-Kill. Medyo natakpan. So ang brand name niya ay Pan-Kill. So P-A-N tapos kill. So ano po itong Pan-Kill nito? So ito powder form po ito. Ito is made up of different type of salts na nagko-combine para mas lalo maging effective itong disinfectant na ito. Itong disinfectant na ito, marami tayong mga types of disinfectant sa market. Ang mga tina-challenge natin, syempre yung dinidisinfect natin, mostly are mga microorganism, yung mga bacteria, mga virus, at of course, yung mga fungal. So yung mga ibang disinfectant natin, masasabi natin pag ginamit mo, hindi siya effective doon sa tatlo. Pwede effective lang doon sa bacteria at saka virus, pero hindi siya effective sa fungal. So mayroong mga meron sila mga microorganism na hindi naapektuhan. Ito pong Pan-Kill ay very effective po doon sa lahat po ng types of microorganism na makakasama doon sa ating mga alagang manok. So ito po hindi lang very effective, hindi lang wide yung range ng effectivity niya in terms of margin of safety kumpara po doon sa mga ibang disinfectant. Mataas po ang margin of safety nito. Hindi po ito basta-basta masasabi natin corrosive. Hindi ito basta-basta, kumbaga pag nadikit sa balat na masasabi natin very irritant, nakakasunog. So malaki-laki po ang safety margin nito. So hindi ka matatakot sa paggamit nito lalo na kung meron pang mga nakalagay doon ng mga manok. So importante lang kahit na mga disinfectant, as much as possible, siyempre pag nagdi-disinfect tayo, kailangan, hanggat maaari, wala yung mga alagang manok. But in the case na may meron na alagang manok na kasama doon, pwede pa rin po itong gamitin. Huwag nyo lang pong i-direkta. So lahat po ng disinfectant, hindi tama na i-direktan yung i-disinfect doon sa mga alagayin yung manok. So itong disinfectant na ito, very, very effective po ito. Lalo na ngayong panahon na pandemya, hindi lang po ito ginagamit sa manukan. Kasi itong disinfectant ito, general po ang gamit nito. So usually po pwede natin gamitin ito para kung sa mga bahay natin, may mga foot bath tayo, lalong galing sa labas. Kung yung mga sasakyan natin, kung saan pupunta, pwede mong spray din sa gulong. Kung yung mga kainan natin na tama-tama, yung mga table natin, gusto nyo disinfect, marami naging tao, bago gamitin sa kinabukasan, pwede rin kayo magtimpla nito para ipahid, para hindi ma-disinfect yung mga surroundings natin, yung mga tables natin, bago natin gamitin. Lalong-lalo na kung nagkaroon tayo ng mga parang sabi mo, for example lang nagkaroon ng gathering. So may mga iba't ibang taong nagpupunta, although bawal ngayon yan nagpunta-punta, hindi natin alam. So mas maganda safe po tayo. So ito pong pan kill, sinasabi ko na po, yan po ay isang disinfectant, 1 kilo po ang preparation niyan. Malaki ang effectivity dito, halos lahat ng mga sabi natin microorganism na nakakasama. Kay bacteria man yan, lalong-lalo na kung virus yan or fungal yan, kayang-kaya nitong patayin po yung mga ganyung organismo. At hindi po nakakatakot na pag nagamit nyo, lagyan ng kamay nyo para nasusunog ang balat nyo or nagkakaroon ng sobrang irritation. So very, very safe yan. So ang routine disinfection yan, para lang for the idea na meron kayo, ang 1 gram is considered, ang 1 gram hahalo nyo sa ito yung parang routine lang ito, pero matapang na po ito para lang yung tipong walang pag yung gagamitin nyo na walang tao, walang manok, o walang hayop. So pwede ito sa poultry, sa babuyan, sa lahat po pwede. 1 gram ihalo nyo sa 100 ml na tubig. So ganun yung mixture niyan. So yan yung pinaka-maximum na natin masasabi natin na halo, na masasabi natin na masyado na matapang yan. So pwede yan mag-range ng 1:200, sabihin 1 gram to 200 ml, pwede mo pa rin disinfect yan. Effective pa rin yan. Pero kung talagang medyo madumi kasi lugar mo, masyadong yung disinfect mo, ang taas ng challenge, yun po, tataasan lang natin yung dosage yan. So 1 gram is to 100 for highly challenged sa mga routine disinfection. Pero kung sobrang grabe talaga naging infection, pwede nyo pang itaas. Make sure lang na walang mga manok o walang hayop na makatabi. So 1:50 po pwede din po yan. So mga painuman natin mga manok, pag nag-disinfect tayo, siguraduhin nyo lang nakataob bago natin lagyan ulit ng tubig. So always be on the safe side. So yan po yung ating disinfectant na ilalabas na po natin yun. Actually, nag-i-start na tayo. So most likely by April, meron na yan. So kung yung ating mga kaibigan na mga partners for production, mga farms na napupunta natin, kung kailangan nyo po ito, i-request nyo lang po doon sa ating mga APS o mga GFS na nandoon yan para makapag-PO na makapagdala sa inyo ng disinfectant nito. So mas mura po ito sa counterpart na disinfectant sa market. So very safe, very wide ang margin ng effectivity. So napakagandang disinfectant. Hatid po sa inyo, handog po sa inyo. Hatid po sa inyo pala, hindi handog. Ng Salto po. Para po makumpleto yung protection natin sa ating mga manukan. Hindi lang sa manukan, pati sa ating bahay. Okay? Yan po ang pan kill. So diretso na tayo. Balik na ulit tayo sa pagpapadugo ng ilong. Okay? So Aljer. Nawawala si Aljer.
Ayan.
Yan. Okay, Aljer? Question number 4.
Sir Calvin, are you ready?
Yeah, buddy.
Okay. Here's the 4th question, buddy. What preparation do you do prior to conditioning of your bird?
Yan. So,
that's
pre-conditioning tips from you.
This is really
next slide.
This is really a good question. Really, really a good question. I tell everybody that the most important thing is health, but that health starts the day the chick is born. The day the chick is born is when it's the healthiest it's going to be in its whole life. If during that chick's life cycle he's sick, he's not treated well, I mean, health-wise, sure, everybody's going to water the roosters, everybody's going to feed the roosters, but if he is not kept clean of parasites, kept free of disease, then it's going to make it awful hard to train that rooster. Awful hard to train him. You know, a good handler's a guys. The young man that works with me. I would like to think he's taught me more than I've ever taught him. And that's the honest to God truth. He showed me about how to train roosters in the Philippines. I showed him how we did it in America, and we've put it together so that we train roosters together here using, I like to say, the both of best worlds. And for many years now, I think we've been together. I don't know. I've been here 15 years. I think that me and Anyok have been working together for either 12 or 13 years, all in all. So long that he's got married and started his own family, and I'm lucky to be working with him. I'm lucky. Tips. Let me just give you a doc. Is it okay if I just give you a little? I won't take too long because I know we're on limited time. A brief overview of how I train roosters.
Go ahead.
Again, Doc, let me apologize that I'm speaking in English. I know I should learn the dialect, but because I have such bad hearing, it just really makes it hard for me. So let me say this to the viewers out there. If you want to ask a question, Doc, let them ask you the question and then you translate it for me, okay? If they're uncomfortable with it, that's what me and Aljer have to do in seminars, and it makes it more comfortable for them because they're not used to speaking with me. And let me start off by saying that to train roosters, when I start preconditioning, I start out away from the fight. My preconditioning period depends on the rooster. Every rooster is an individual, and he must be treated as an individual all through the keep. So preconditioning can take a month, couple of months. The actual conditioning for me is about 45 days. The actual, when I've got my hands on them and we're working with them. Now in the States, it used to be only 3 weeks, but like I told you, Doc, for me, I've changed a little bit. I'm working with Anyok, and we 45 days. Hey, that's what he likes, and it works out good. First thing we do when we get that rooster in is we make sure, even if he's coming out of pre-con, that he's free of any internal or external bugs. No red bugs, no worms. An important thing I like to tell people about worming, Philippines people like to worm once a month. Okay, that's a good practice, but the life cycle of a worm is 10 days. So if you worm today, in 10 days from now, the eggs that worm has laid will have hatched. So if you give him a second worming in 10 days, he'll be free of internal parasites. He'll be free of internal parasites. And use a good internal wormer. There are some good ones out there. Salto has a good one now too. Something that will take care of both roundworms and tapeworms. You got to get rid of them all. I use a lot of Ivamec in my program, but again, that's something I did in the past in the States, so it's something I brought with me. But on the cord, I do like everybody else because I think it functions here. Worm every, I worm once a month. Pre-con, I'm worming once a month. But when we enter the conditioning phase, that's say 45 days out. At 45 days, they're going to get a bath. They're going to get a worm pill. Probably going to get a shot of B12 too. Now, I only take roosters into this training cycle at that time that are within a close of their normal range. I want them to be carrying a little bit extra flesh. If the rooster is too skinny, If he's what's a niwang? Is that the term I think we use here in Ilonggo? If he's niwang, a little skinny, I'm going to put him back out on the cord and have the guys, feed him a little bit more, so that when we select again, we can see how his weight is. When I'm thinking about selection, Doc, one thing I'd like to say to Filipino guys that I know, that I see that for me that they, I don't say this very often, but I think there's a couple areas that especially young guys new to the sport need to get away from. First, get away from sweat. So I call it sweateritis. Yeah, sweaters are great roosters. They surely are. But just because it has the name sweater and a big pretty feathers in the tail, that doesn't mean it's a winner. Second most important tip is select roosters based on their performance. It doesn't matter how they're bred, especially when you bred that rooster from a proven line. So, or even if it was your first time, so you're going to prove that line. You know what his breeding is. So, but just because they're carrying some label, some name, that doesn't mean he's going to perform good. So for me, first, get rid of the sweateritis. Yeah, I like sweaters. I like beautiful. I like, some of my American friends who don't like them very much. I like them. They're beautiful roosters, but only select the ones that perform. Just because it's a sweater don't mean it's going to win. Select the roosters that are going to perform to your standard. Now, everybody is having something, and this is where Mr. Aljer can help us out, because he's a champion in his own right. Nah, just last week he almost bagged a great big one. Nah.
Yeah.
But for me,
Aljer is one. You can say he's not a sweater lover also, but his breeding are performing.
I seen him fight some whites here a while back of his own breeding. Look, they were outstanding. I've been trying to get him to give me one of those so I could use it at a broodcock, but so far he's not playing. He's not giving any up. Aljer, what about you, buddy? What's a tip you can share with our young guys here? That and another thing is, this is something that I haven't done a seminar in a while, and I forget things that I should tell guys. I keep I make Anyok do it. I shouldn't say. I ask him to do it. Keep records of what day you do what and what you did. So, why is that important to have written records? Well, because if we did something at day 35 and we had 2 or 3 other derbies in between there, we probably forgot what we did at day 35 on this group of roosters. We probably forgot, and we'll overlook it. We'll overlook it and not do it again the next time if we want to do that same thing, or we don't want to do it. We know what not to do or what to do. Written records are important. If you're giving a vitamin pill at this day and you think it works, then you know exactly what day you give it at, and you can do the same thing in your next boosters. Or if you think it didn't help you, then you know not to do it again. I had another thought. Let me give the floor to Mr. Aljer there for a minute, and let me think about what I was going to say.
Pa-share naman. So, Tagalog tayo naman. Pa-share ng mga tips mo in selecting yung mga panlaban mo na nagbigay sa'yo ng mga magandang score.
Ang tips ko lang sa mga yung mga bago saka yung naghahanda, pag select ng mga nilalaban natin. First is when we select, 'di ba sa cord, Na-select natin sila sa code, may abilidad and magaling. Correct?
Correct.
Then, so iba kasi, kung ano yung nakita nila doon sa dami kasing nilalagay, nawawala na yung diskarte ng manok. So sa akin is mostly I keep it in the conditioning area na natural yung mga ginagamit. For example, yung mga paturok, tsaka yung kung ano yung mga binibigay na vitamins, additives, no? That it will keep the body temperature high of the chicken, which is hindi maganda. Once na yung manok natin na mainit yung katawan, pumasok sa ruweda, meaning, hindi na maganda yung kondisyon niya. So, meaning, may mali kayong nagawa, later part, dyan, yung before dyan, so, we have to keep our chickens na natural yung body temperature niya. Kung ano yung paghawak natin before the day, during mag-point ka, kaya ganun pa rin. Yun ang sa akin, ha? Hindi kasi ako masyado, Dok Arv, na nagbibigay ng maraming mga additives. Gamot-gamot. So, I prefer na kung ano doon, yung sa akin lang, ha? Naghahanap pa yung manok kung ano yung mga niya is doon sa pagkain mismo. Not doon sa additives. Additives is just kung ano lang yung kulang niya, yung bibigay mo. For example, hindi mo kasi alam kung ano yung kulang eh. Feel mo lang yun eh. Diba? Kasi yung iba, may mga nilagay kung ano-ano pa dyan. Which is, ang mangyayari, metabolism ng manok, apektado.
Parang dumodoble eh. Hindi naman na kailangan.
Hindi naman naman kailangan. So, kailangan, ang importante is kung ano yung pinapakain mo sa conditioning mo.
Okay, talking about sa pinapakain, Sir Calvin?
Yes.
Can you share what type of feeding you do in preconditioning and conditioning? That's a question from Alvin R. of Shoma.
I will, first, Doc, let me say, I just heard Aljar say something. He said he likes to keep his roosters as close as possible to natural. That's a very good statement. Doc, back in the day, I fought in the American long gaff, the short gaff, short knife back in the day, and I've tried everything. If it can be given to a rooster, I've tried it. Or I've watched other people try it. I just have, after so many years, steroids, strychnine, and all different kinds of concoctions of those. And if you may get it right once, but it's hard to get it right every time. But especially here, if your rooster is 100% natural, then it just seems like it just works better. It's easier to control, and you can be more consistent. Now, what did you ask me? Your question, Doc? Would you ask me again, please?
There's a question here from one of the. How do you feed your chickens?
Let's talk about conditioning feed. I'm using power pellets, and I'm using the best concentrate I can buy. I think that they deserve the best rations we can give them, and I've tried all the different training pellets out there in the past, and I know from experience that power pellets for my program, power pellets, I'm using it when I start out. I use it at 50-50. Now, depending on the if my roosters are gaining weight or losing weight, I change the ration a little bit to meet the demands they're caloric value, the demands are required. But 50-50 seems to be a good general starting point for me until I get down.
If the cock is gaining weight, how much pellets do you give? Or once, so our ka-Salto would have an idea to how much, what particular type of feed they're going to decrease. Can you tell us if they're gaining weight, what to decrease?
If, for me, pellets are what they're gaining. When a rooster is gaining weight in the keep, what it tells me is he's gaining water mass. Same thing if you use steroids, they're going to put on water mass. I know that from, watching my friends back in the gym when they did. If a rooster's starting to gain weight, I'm going to increase the amounts of grains and decrease the amount of pellets. Not gradually and just a little bit, I would. Experience has taught me, and it may work different for others, but experience has taught me, Doc, to make gradual changes. That's why, we weigh our roosters almost every day in the keep, every day, and we watch where they're going, watch the monitoring. It's a good question, by the way. What do we do if it needs to gain a little bit weight? Remember, we started out at our ideal weight, and we want them to lose a little bit. What if they start losing too much? Well, we increase their pellets. It doesn't necessarily increase their carbohydrates or their caloric value, the calories so much. It just the more pellets the rooster drinks, the more pellets the rooster eats, the more he's going to drink, and that's because pellets are dry, and that's going to make him put on a little water weight. You may also, if the roosters, because if they're changing fast, maybe it's because they're starting to lose their breast. It could be that you're working the roosters, hard. You give them a big workout, rotation. Sometimes if you're doing a lot of rotations a day, I'll do that, and you just simply need to increase the amount of feed that you're giving them. Not change the ration, just increase it. Again, this is one of those things. Unfortunately, because I fight a lot of roosters, we get to practice and experiment a lot. So, in the feed yard, with the feed cup, in the cock house, at the pit. I don't want to say experience is the best teacher, but it is. The more you practice something, the more it becomes habit, or it becomes easier for you to understand and adjust. Roosters can't speak to us. Not like I'm speaking to you now, even though it's nosebleed time. Not like I'm speaking to you now, Doc, but they are talking to us. You have to read the signs of the rooster. How are they acting? What's their poo look like? I mean, there's only a few ways to watch a rooster, and everybody will say, well, roosters are always like this, always like that. Yes, that's true. Roosters are the biggest liars in the world. They want you to always think they're on point. They want you to always think, they're the top of the world, but they're not. You have to. I can talk to people about conditioning, and I can explain to them what I do. I mean, I can explain every detail. I could take somebody through the keep with me, and they could be the most willing person in the world. But if they don't learn to watch the rooster and the feel of the rooster, how he should feel when he's in training, at where he's at in his training, and then on fight day, it's very hard to learn. And again, I'm fortunate to practice. Everybody says, well, I only have a few roosters. I only have a few roosters to train. I only have a few roosters to work with. Okay. And they said, once I fight them, that's a long time in between till I can fight them again. Okay, well, why not train and practice that set of roosters and from start to finish, going through the pre-keep, the pre-con, and give them a conditioning, point them, and then spar them. You don't have to put the gaff on. What you're looking for, what I would suggest is you're looking for an improvement. If they spar better after you pointed them than they did when you were training them, then you've done your job. But if they spar sluggish, if they don't, they won't break, they just stand around and let the other rooster punch them, then you need to go back and work somewhere in your keep and until you can figure it out. At that point, if you haven't, you don't want to take that kind of roosters. You've messed them up somehow, and you're just going to give away your money and lose your rooster if you go to the pit. So, yeah, everybody says that's a lot of work. Yeah, it is a lot of work. Raising gamefowl is a lot of work, a lot, from start to finish. There's no easy part to gamefowl. Nothing's easy. Even waiting at the pit for hours on end for your next fight is not easy. It's boring, whatever. But the thrill of a good performance, it doesn't have to be necessarily victory. Just a good performance against another top component, another tough opponent. That's a runner's high if I ever had one. When I see my roosters perform out there like that, I get that that adrenaline rush, and it makes it all worthwhile. It makes all the effort we put in, all that time we put in, worth it when we get that, Doc.
Yeah, so a lot of good points you gave, Sir Calvin. Can you add more in terms of, do you have a standard training regimen for your fowls? Like a number of spars, or how many times spar them?
No, I don't. Well, yes, I do. But again, normally we're sparring 3 times a week during the up to the last 5 days. But everybody says it's too much. Well, I don't let them wrestle around. All I want them to do is just fly together with gloves on, and then we pick them right back up again. That's enough, just so they know what they're there for. I forgot to, in the mornings after we feed them. Before we feed them, we're scratching them good. Depends on which day it is. We're going to let them. I call it dig. I think in the Longo. Mr. Algar there is going to call it sampai. Let the rooster scratch a little bit. Sampai, yeah. That's during the keep. We don't do that at the pit, but during the keep we do that, and it's all to build up the rooster's strength. That's another good point, if I will, Doc. It's a norm in the Philippines, a normal standard when I go to the pit, that I see guys making sampai, if you say a sampai, before, while they're warming up the roosters. Okay, maybe they're trying to make them mad, or they're trying to get them hot. For me, I just spent weeks building up that carbo load, getting that rooster to his peak performance. And in those few minutes that you just that I see the guys doing that, they just burned up that gas tank. It's all gone. Yeah, is there going to be some left? There's going to be some left, but I'm not saying not to warm them up. That's not what I'm saying. But there's different ways to warm them up for me, Doc, than scratching them for 5 minutes out there, holding their tail when they're straining as hard as they can. Show me Show me a basketball player that runs wind sprints for 5 minutes before he plays the
Playing
game.
the basketball. You exhaust their energy from the start.
Yeah. So
Yes. I saw
again,
lots of
Salto,
them.
this is the practice of our endorser in Bacolod Paradise. So we each of them have their own practices. So this is the practice Sir Calvin does that is very effective with his fouls. So that is confirmed by the achievement he had. We discussed it a while ago.
But Doc, I also tell people too that if it's working for you, don't change it. Don't change no matter what anybody says. If it works for you, stay with it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong, and don't fix it. Right? That's a common term.
You're right.
If it's not broken,
If you
don't
have
fix it.
You're right. If you don't have a flat tire, why take and change the tire? Yeah, Doc. It's that's always tell everybody. Somebody said to me, "Well, my training program is totally different," and I said to them, "Okay, that's okay. Are you having success?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, don't change a thing. If you see 1 or 2 small things from me that you hear that you like and you want to test it, good. But don't change your program if it works. If you have something that works, and it doesn't matter what your neighbor down the street says, on the other brand guy, if he says, well, I'm having so much, it doesn't matter what's happening to him. And yes, we're all looking for improvements. We all want to increase our winning percentage. That's just normal. Because this is a competitive game. Everybody wants to win. And that's normal. But if you're at the top of your game and you're doing well, don't if you're going to make a change, only make a small one. Don't make some big change and throw your whole system out the door. That's why it's a good reason why you have to take the written notes so that you know where you're at, Doc.
Yeah, that's
just
called
my 2
just
cents or
fine-tuning.
2 centavos for today.
Do some fine-tuning.
Exactly.
Don't completely turn it around. If it's already working, just get some a few more improvements. But what's important is you do not stop there. So get more improvements. So just like what Sir Calvin said, it is possible that what works for you may not work for me. So you have to really assess which method you can adopt in your system. So each of us has his own way of conditioning. Each of us has his own way of preparing cocks. So as long as it's performing and it's doing its job and it's performing, so don't change it. But always have an improvement. Always improve. Cockfighting is a continuous improvement. So if you do not improve, if you do not upgrade, you will most likely be left behind. Fine. Okay? So that is my English.
But even at the best of day, Docs, we're going to have those days when we should have stayed in bed. That's an English saying. Since we're getting nosebleed, they're going to have those days when the best thing we could have done was stayed in bed and left the roosters at home. But everyone has those days. At least I know I have some. And
we call it here in the Philippines na pag we're in luck, larga. Pero but when your luck runs out, medyo pahinga. I mean, rest a bit. So recover first. Don't keep on fighting when you're losing already.
Yeah, when I'm back there shaking my head, guys will pat me on the back and say, hey, that's just part of the game. Yeah, I don't like it, but that's part of the game. You got to take the good and the bad. Yeah,
you're not always winning. If that is the case, then there's no more sabong because someone already monopolized the industry. So there's a continuous improvement. There's a continuous change. So you have to be on top shape in case of fighting your cock. So you have to continue to improve your ways. So my English is running out because we're talking almost in 2 hours.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, but it's important, guys.
But I mean,
you need to give it.
That's the key point. The main point.
You're right.
I think we already discuss a bit on the next question. So next slide. This is now the question regarding some tips in terms of what to do or what to observe during fight day, especially when you're already nearing your fight schedule. So what are the tips you could share for our viewers there? in terms of during fight day and what to observe and what not to do on the cockpit?
You know, we already talked about I don't like digging so much in the warm up. That's for me. That's for me. I don't like digging. I'm not a big fan. You know, it's okay to weigh your roosters, and Americans, only time I used to weigh before I came to the Philippines. The only time I weighed my rooster during the day was when I turned in my weights for submission in the morning. And it's a little bit different there than this here. I didn't weigh my roosters during the day, but I watched their poo and how their poo is. And poo is, it's really just, you're just watching what's left inside of them and moisture content. And which is just, it's really the same thing you're doing when you weigh them. Roosters their weight should be, this is for me now, their weight should be stabilized by the time you get to the end. That I feed a little bit on the morning of fight day. I do. I think I want my roosters to, to be happy. I don't want them to be overly hungry. And with that being said, but I am monitoring them. I am, I take them out, let them drop out. Depending on how close their fight is, if their fight is close, I'm trying to get them empty as possible. I like to fight roosters is almost as empty as they can be. I don't want them totally empty, because I think it dehydrates them a little bit too much with the long knife if you get them so gut empty. And I don't want to do that. Doesn't work for me to win if I'm doing that. I don't like feeding. If you need, this is a fault for me that I see during the day. Now, if it works for other people, that's okay. If during the day you need to, and you need to feed your rooster because he's losing too much weight, there is something wrong with that rooster. Didn't stabilize his weight during the keep, or his environment at the pit is something's wrong. Either because he's getting dehydrated somehow. Maybe your air conditioning is too strong, and it's the humidity is so low that he's being dehydrated. I found at the pit when it's raining, that's the time to feed wet. When it's dry, that's the time to feed dry. When everybody says no, that's just the wrong thing. If it's raining, then we want to feed dry so that it'll not. If it's not, if you feed wet when it's raining, you're putting that moisture in the rooster's body, and his brain is thinking that he has plenty of moisture, and he's not going to absorb so much moisture from the air. And it's dry. If it's dry and you feed dry food, then it's just going to get he's going to think that he's okay, and it's what works for me. If I feed wet and it's dry outside, I'm in trouble. They're going to load up on moisture, and same with dry when it's wet outside. It just doesn't work for me. But again, the only reason I know that is because I'm able to fight a lot of roosters, and I'm able to to see the performance, because that's what it's all about, right? I mean, we're talking about performance here, and at the end of the day, performance is either a W or a loss. And hopefully that we've done everything we can and we got the big W, but it's not all the case. We get the L, we need to practice some more.
Yeah, because
Practice
they're
makes
asking
perfect.
you to fight more. That's why he didn't give you the championship. But most likely, you'll be getting it by this season. There's a question here. I forgot the name regarding the head knocking. What is your opinion about the head knocking of chicken? Is it a sign, or do you look for it when you're fighting the cocks?
when I was younger, I thought that was a sign that my rooster is on point.
Yes,
I still think
but it's not.
it depends on what degree it is. I still think that it's a sign that the rooster's, if he's snapping his head around, looking, he could be telling you, that he's on point. But there's another aspect to this that I've really noticed since the Lamadors are here, or when we had Lamadors, that it could be from the noise. It could be from the noise that the rooster's hearing is causing him to look around at the noise. It's not. It's yes, is it an indication it could be unhealthy and he could be ready to fight? Yes, but if it's really loud in the cockpit, it could be an indication that he's just paying attention to his environment. So I would say it's okay to use that as a starting point, especially if you're in the back and it's quiet there, and then he's popping. I call it popping his head. Well, he's telling me you're getting pretty close to getting him right. But if he doesn't in the back, and then all of a sudden you get up to the main pit, and there's a lot of noise there. Maybe with today's no crowd, we won't. It's a little bit better gauge. But when the big crowds are there, especially in the big cockpits here, I think noise affects the roosters as well. That's just again personal, but do I think it's a thing? Yes, but it's not the only meaning I see for the head popping.
Yeah, that's a good point, Sir Calvin. So what do you look for as signs for a cock or a stag that they're really on point, aside from head knocking? Because you said head knocking is not 100% assurance is on point. Good point. It's possible also that because of the noise. So what else do you want to see to say that we're already on point?
When I'm in the back, one of the things that I like to see from my roosters is that they're calm, they're standing up, trying to make themselves as tall as possible. Again, they're trying. In the wild, roosters. They don't really want. They'd rather intimidate the other rooster than have to fight him. That's just. So if you notice roosters when they go in and they see the other rooster, they're flapping their wings and they're crowing. They're hoping that the other rooster is going to run away. When you get out to the main pit, after we've gaffed them and we're warming them up, I want to see that they're. I like to let them. I don't like to do a lot of digging, as I said before. In fact, I've told my guys that we're not going to do that. But I want them to let the rooster walk around. I want him to become comfortable with his environment. I want to see he's alert and watching the other rooster. He's paying attention to what's going on. He's paying attention to what's going on. And this is something I tell young guys, young handlers. Guys, if you want to handle the rooster, then handle the rooster. If you want to be a gambler, then let somebody else handle the rooster. A lot of times I'll see guys go in there with the rooster, and then they'll warm him up a little bit, and then all of a sudden they turn into where they want to be a gambler. Now this is not so much in today's world because we don't have the crowd like we used to have, and for me that's a no-no. If you got the rooster in your hands, you focus on that rooster. If you're the owner and you want to gamble, then let somebody else handle that rooster. And you might say, well, I have success with that. Okay, all right. But how much more success would you have? How many points could you add to your winning percentage if somebody's focusing on the rooster and the rooster is focusing on the other side? Because if you're running around the inside of the ring with that rooster in your hands and you're trying to, gamble over on this side and then get another bet on that side, surely it's going to affect the rooster somehow. So again, it's just one of the things that I've always done, and I think I think guys, if they would, calm down a little bit. Yeah, people want to see you gambling. They want to, you want people to see you gambling, and they want, you see you holding that beautiful rooster at the same time. But for me, winning percentage means more than anything. If I want to gamble, I'm going to gamble. If I want to pit the rooster, I'm going to pit the rooster. But I'm not going to do the same at both times. If that guy wants to is holding the rooster and he wants to gamble as well, there's always an extra guy inside the ring there, or he can bring someone inside in with him and tell that guy to do it. If you're in the ring with your rooster, focus on your rooster. He's ready to give all for you. You should give all for him too.
Right, good point. I think in Tagalog, the point of Sir Calvin is when you're fighting your chicken, make sure that your full attention is on the chicken. So, sayang yung pinagandaan mo na pagdating sa simbungan, dahil gusto mo pumusta, parang nawawala ka sa focus or iiwan mo yung manok mo at mamumusta ka para bumalik, napapabayaan eh. So, sabi nga ni Sir Calvin, the chicken is giving its 100%. So, you should also, on your part, as your breeder or handler, bigay mo rin yung 100% para yung focus nandoon yung 100%. So, yung full potential na gagalawin ng manok, makikita mo. So, I think that's the point of Sir Calvin. So, Sir Calvin, I think you have given us a lot of tips. So, we're going to pause for a break again. And then after that, we're going to discuss some feeds. And then we're going to the question and answer for them to win the feeds and then the stag. So, mga ka-Salto, pahinga muna tayo. May konting break nyo na. May mga video, panoorin nyo ito. Tapos pa-break tayo para po sa ating question and answer. Okay? You're younger here, Sir Calvin. Salto. Yan, okay. So, panahon na naman ang labanan pa rin. So, panahon tayo ng mga bull stag at mga cock na labanan. So pagdating sa mga ganitong labanan, dapat napakaganda ng ating ginagamit na mga patuka. Meron po ang Salto na ginawang formulasyon para po sa mga pangangailangan ng ating mga naghahanda, mga handlers. Ang mga handlers natin, hindi tulad ng dati, medyo parang sarado pa ang isip lang na ang kailangan ni protina mataas, parang ganun lang. So sabi ko nga, nagbabago ang approach sa paghahanda. So may merong isang kumbaga, dalawang way of thinking na merong isang mas gusto yung mas mataas ang protina para gusto niya mas malaki ang katawan, mas matigas. Meron namang gusto mas mababa ang protina para naman sa mas slim ang katawan pero lambot, mas madaling galaw. So ang Salto po ay nag-produce po ng dalawang type of conditioning pellet. Bukod sa nauna, ito po yung ating Salto Power Pellet. In combination of course with yung Salto with germ na produce po ng ating company na masasabi natin one of its kind. Pinadali po ang buhay, nandiyan na po ang wheat germ, nandiyan po ang B12, nandiyan na po yung oil supplement mo, at nandiyan na rin po yung dextrose powder. So napakadaling kombinasyon itong tatlo. Actually, tatlo yan. So yung power pellet po, yung Salto wheat germ na 3 kutsara sa 1 kilong ng patuka, at yung power mix 4 po ng Salto, which is yung all grains. 9 kinds of grains, sabi nga ni Sir Calvin, we have to use good quality grains. So power mix 4 po, yan po ay isang produkto din po ng Salto na all grains na 9 kinds na ang quality masasabi natin. Pare-parehas ang level katulad doon sa mga ibang mga patuka na dinevelop po natin. So yan po yung isang klase, yung power pellet in combination with Salto with germ at power mix 4. Ang isa pa pong ating pang-condition, ito po ay 18% ano yung power pellet na to. At ang kulay ay natural kasi meron tayong mga naghahanda na ayaw na rin binabago yung kulay. Kasi napapansin nila, kadalasan pag may pinapakain sila na sanay sa parang natural color tapos i-condition, bibigyan mo ng pula, nagkakaroon ng time na parang may transition, minsan iniiwan yung pellet na pula hindi kinakain. So meron po tayo yan, natural color po yung power pellet. Next slide. So yung isa pong klase natin na patuka, yung pang-kondisyon, ito po yung nauna nating nilabas, ito po yung ating Salto conditioner. So kulay pula po ito, ang porsyento po ng ang protina nito ay 22%. So next slide. Next slide. So ganun pa rin po yan mga ka-Salto. In combination pa rin ng Salto with germ at power mix 4. So gagawa kayo ng 1 kilong halo. So 50%, sabi mo kalahating kilo conditioner ng Salto conditioner, kalahating kilo ng power mix 4. Pag halo niyan, lagyan mo lang ng 3 kutsarang Salto with germ. Pwede na po yan. Ready na. Wala nang hassle. Less stress sa manok. Hindi mo na huhulihin, susubuan, i-injectionan. So andyan na po yung pangangailangan. Yung amino acid niyan po, balansyado, tamang-tama sa pangangailangan ng ating mga ikinokondisyong manok. So, ayan po yung dalawang produkto po na pangkondisyon para sa mga bulstag hanggang sa cut po. So, yung ano natin, isa po niyan, yung stag developer, stag conditioner naman, yan naman ay po sa panahon ng stag fighting. So, ngayon, ito po yung available po natin na po pwede nyong gamitin o masubukan. Kung wala pa po ito, doon sa inyong suking tindahan, kayo na po ang makipag-usap doon sa mga may-ari na mag-display at upang kayo ay makasubok nito. So combination po yan ha, tatlo yan. Yung conditioning pellet, either power pellet or Salto conditioner, yung Salto with germ, tapos yung power mix 4. So yan, dinesign po na magkakasama yan para mag-produce ng tamang pangangailangan ng nutrisyon na kailangan ng ating mga manok na inanda. Okay? So yan po yung produkto po ng Salto. Tuloy na po tayo sa question and answer, of course. Paano po manalo? So magbibigay po ako ng 3 katanungan. Mag-alternate kami. So itong 3 tanong na po ito, maaari po kayong manalo ng feeds at maaari po kayong manalo rin ng stag na galing sa genetic farm. So pagsabi ko po, pagbanggit ko po ng question, antayin niyo po lumabas sa comment section. Paglabas sa comment section, yan na po yung pagkakataon nyo sumagot ng sagot sa katanungan niyon. So wag lang kakalimutan, lagyan nyo lang ng hashtag tindig ka-Salto. Tapos yung tamang sagot. So, pipili po kami ng mga ilang mga nakasagot niyan, tapos i-raffle po natin yung pinaka-premyo sa cluster na yun. So, start tayo sa unang question. Okay, first question. Nawala yung aking mga kasama. Okay, so ito, kanina nabanggit ito ni Sir Calvin, inulit-ulit ano. So, ang question is, ano ang paboritong linyada ng alas ng Salto na Sir Calvin sa kanyang manukan? So, kanina binanggit niya yun nasa may ano, yung tip na to, yung last part. So, pag lumabas na po ito sa question sa comment section, pagkakataon nyo na po sumagot, ang isagot nyo lang po ay hashtag, huwag kang kalimutan, hashtag tindig ka-Salto, tapos yung tama sagot. So once nandiyan na, sagot na po kayo. At yung pong mananalo, antayin nyo na lang pong kontakin kayo ng ating representative kung paano nyo may kiklaim yung ating napanalunan. Okay? So pag nandiyan na yan, sagot na po. Tapos bibigyan natin some time. Okay, marami na rin nakasagot. So I think mga 5 pa. Then we can go ahead with other questions. So tamang spelling po Okay, siguro pwede na yan. Okay, next, pakita na natin yung tamang sagot. So ang sagot po sa question number 1. Leaper po ang sagot. So yun yung pinaka-last part. Sabi nga ni Sir Calvin, hindi pa siya nakaka-experience ng malaking pagkakamali sa pagkocross ng manok niyan sa mga ibang linyada niya. So nag-perform sa kanya na maayos. Okay, congratulations sa mga nakasagot. Question number 2, Sir Aljer. Go ahead. So yung salamin. Gamitin yung salamin.
Yes, question number 2. Ula mga ka-Salto, question number 2. Ano ang disinfectant na malaki ang margin of safety at effect sa iba't ibang microorganisms na distributed ng Salto? Ano po yun ang disinfectant namin?
So, abangan nyo na po yan. So, palabas na yan. Nandyan na po sa mga warehouse natin yan. Ilalabas na po natin yan. Kaya yung mga gusto pong mag-avail, lalo yung mga farm na gusto na maayos na disinfectant, kausapin nyo lang po yung mga APS na nandyan o kaya yung mga nagdi-distribute ng Salto sa lugar nyo upang kayo maka-order, makagamit. So, malaki ang margin of safety. Tapos, hindi pa siya ganun ka-agresibo in terms of parang yung mga negative effect sa atin, sa kamay, sa mga hayop. So ano po yan? Disinfectant po na yan. So pag lumabas na po, pakisagot na lang. Yan. Okay. 1 kilo packaging po yan, powder form. So hindi na sa manukan ito nagagamit. Maaari itong gamitin sa iba. So this is a general disinfectant. Okay. So okay, good. Marami na nakakasagot. So 5 pa, pwede na. Okay, pakita na natin sagot. So ano po itong yung disinfectant na distribute ngayon ng ating company na dahil ito ay magandang klase kaya po natin ito hinahatid sa inyo. Hindi po kami magdadala ng gamot na sa tingin namin ay hindi makakatulong sa inyo. So yan po ang pangalan po ng ating disinfectant, Pankill po. So i-order niyo na po sa mga kaibigan natin mga APS o GFS yan para po paglabas makagamit na po kayo. O parating nga sasabi ni Aljer, pag nagdi-disinfect ka, an ounce of prevention is better than a kilo. kilo sinabi mo eh. Sa Tagalog, kilo.
Yes, sir. A gram of prevention is worth a kilo of cure.
So it's a kilogram basis, grams, not ounce. Okay, so Pankill po. Last question for the day. Okay? Na-discuss ko to kanina. So ito, mananalo naman po kayo. Yung first 2 question, mananalo po kayo ng isang sakong Galimax 21. Tama-tama breeding. Habol pa para sa sinasabi nating late born. Okay. Question number 3. Aljer, ikaw na rin.
Question number 3. Ito, mananalo kayo ng isang stag galing sa Salto Genetic Farm of Dok Aga.
Hindi. Depende sa lugar.
Okay. Depende para sa lugar. Okay. Question number 3. Ano ang dalawang conditioning feeds para sa bull stag and calf na mainam na kahalo ng Power Mix 4 at Salto with germ lab?
Dalawa yung sagot yan Dalawang sagot dapat.
Yes, dalawa.
Yung dalawang conditioning pellet na yung na ginagamit natin sa bull stag at calf, yung kanina ko sinabi. So, hashtag tindig ka-Salto, tapos yung dalawang gamit na yun. So, napakagandang in combination with Power Mix 4 at Salto with germ. So, performance-wise, Mr. Calvin, nagamit niya na yan. So, hindi yan magbabanggit ng ganon kung hindi yan nababakapan yung kanyang mga achievement. So, sagot na mga ka-Salto, pagka babas na, okay na. So, ang tanong dito ay yung hindi po yung Salto with germ sa Power Mix 4. Ano yung dalawang kanina, yung dalawang conditioning pellet na binanggit ko kanina at pinakita natin na para po ginagamit sa pangkondisyon. Ayan. So, dalawa po yan sagot na yan. Okay? Sige. So, bigyan mo natin ng 5 para po mas maganda yung parapol natin. So, one of these, yung mga nakasagot ng maayos, na tama, will be a winner from Stag galing sa Salto. Malay mo, galing sa Bacolod. So, baka yan yung mga AGY White Ranger. Aljer. Na nagpapanalo sa kanya ngayon. Sabi nga niya, parati namin napupunyasin ng konting swerte. Sobrang ng konting swerte. Isa lang usually nilalaglag, tapos pa. Okay. Pwede na. Pakita na natin ang tamang sagot. Yan. So, surprise ha. Okay, dahan-dahan ang labas. Yan po yung dalawang produkto na conditioning pellet po natin na ginagamit sa bullstag at sa kak. So ayan ay magandang kahalo po ng ating Salto with germ at Power Mix 4. So nawala yung name, pero yan po yung Power Pellet tsaka yung Salto Conditioner. So congratulations po doon sa nakasagot ng tama. Antayin nyo na po tawagan kayo ng ating representative na kayo po yung nanalo. So Salto Power Pellet and Salto Conditioner. Okay, congratulations. So, okay, next. I think, feedback survey, okay? Aljer, kaya mo ito, feedback survey? Nababasa?
Konti, okay. Feedback survey mechanics. 1. Magpo-post ng link si Salto Philippines ng feedback survey sa comment section. 2. Second, sumagot ng survey upang malaman namin kung paano pa namin ma-improve ang ating Salto webinar. Number 3, ang mga viewers na sasagot sa survey ay magkakaroon ng pagkakataong makatanggap ng 300 worth of Shopee vouchers.
Buti na lang, kasi ka, baka mabanggit mo 500 eh.
Valid lamang ang Salto Shopee vouchers, Salto products na available sa Pilmico official ng Shopee Mall. 5 winners ito ha, 5 winners. Number 4, ang mga nanalo sa feedback survey sa mga naunang webinar ay pwedeng manalo ulit. Wow! Ganun ha.
So, pwede pang sumagot ulit sa feedback survey mga winners. So, get a chance to win 300 pesos worth of Salto Shopee vouchers. Pwede lang po ito gamitin sa mga produkto rin po na Salto. But again, you have 300. So, mga kasalto, sa pandemya ngayon, naghihigpit, nag-mutate ang mga mismong virus. So, mas nakakahawa. Meron para doon sa mga medyo maingat, doon sa medyo may high risk. Napakadali na pong umorder po ng mga Salto product. Hindi lang Salto product, premium product, pati mga animal health, pati Salto with germ. O order lang po kayo through Lazada or Shopee, dadalhin na mismo sa inyo yan. Lalo na yung mga hirap bumiyahe. So order lang online via Lazada or via Shopee, yung inyong mga gustong patukan ng mga Salto product, Salto premium, animal health, at yung Salto with germ. So darating na sa harap. Less hassle, less risk dahil hindi na kayo lalabas. So, kung hindi kayo masyado pa maalam sa pag-order sa Lazada at Shopee, paturo lang po kayo sa misis nyo. Malamang kabisado na nila. Okay. So, I think ito na yun. Wala pa naman tayong masyadong Yeah. Okay. So, I think we are on the last part na. So, Aljer, any more closing tips for sa ating mga kasalto before we go to Sir Calvin?
Yes. Magandang araw. Again, hula kasalto. Sa susunod naming mga episode ng mga webinars at ng mga alas ng Salto, wag nyo po sanang pagsawaan na subaybayan sila. Marami tayong tips na maka-enhance or kumbaga kung ano yung maging epektibo pa yung mga gagawin natin sa mga farm, conditioning, production, prevention, lahat. Tanong kayo kung ano yung topic for the week, mga kasalto. Dami na tayong natutulungan dito sa labas at sa loob ng Pilipinas.
Yan.
Again, maraming salamat sa pagsubaybay sa amin. Dok Arvin?
Okay, thank you, Sir Aljer. Of course, I would like to thank Sir Calvin. Sir Calvin, do you have any more takeaway tips or takeaway message for our ka-Salto?
You know, just two things that came to my mind here at the end as I was listening to Mr. Aljer saying. First, I'm supposed to say, Aljer, your idol said to tell you hi. Doc, two things. If I can do it, so can everybody else. I'm just a simple guy, come from a simple beginning, just attention to detail and desire. Desire brings opportunity, opportunity brings luck. And the last thing I can say is, if you're not using Salto products, and I'm talking about from the start, Gallimax 21 to produce your chicks until you all the the new wheat germ on your conditioning feed, then you're getting beat by somebody that's using them. That's more important. If you're not using it, you're getting beat by somebody that's using it. So, and hey, everybody that's here, hey, I had a good time. I hope you all enjoyed as well. Again, sorry about the English. And the dialect, I just can't master it.
That's no problem, Sir Calvin. It's way more
okay,
difficult if you try to speak Tagalog and we do not understand your Tagalog. That's better. So thank you, Sir Calvin, for giving us so much information, especially those information came from your experience for preparing and fighting lots of stags and cats. So those came from valid experience. You have your ups and downs. You have your fine tuning. So thank you for sharing that. You're not the type that keeps it to themselves because it's a secret. So thank you for those. Even though it's in English, I'm sure most of our ka-Salto here understood your message. So mga ka-Salto, maraming pong salamat doon sa mga nagbigay ng oras. Sana po ay marami po kaming naibigay sa inyo o marami na ihatid si Sir Calvin sa inyo managdag kalaman. Mas marami po kaysa sa dugong na wala sa inyo. Pero ayun nyo, kita nyo naman sa mga binanggit ni Sir Calvin, ang daming points for takeaway. So yan yung way na mga, hindi opinion, yung mga practices niya na ginawa niya na nagbigay sa kanya ng ganyang mga achievement. Thank you so much, Sir Calvin. Mga ka-Salto, maraming salamat. Sa susunod po uling webinar, balik na po ulit tayo sa Tagalog. Isa lang kaya namin, once a month lang. At baka ma-hospital na kami. Thank you, Sir Calvin, Sir Aljer, mga ka-Salto. Thank you very much. See you on the next webinar.
Thank you.
See you guys.